Okay guys, just a little late night update here on the Simplicity. Just doing a few piddly things while we wait for parts to arrive. We have some nice, very cheap edging along here that will keep it from wearing out and rattling right there on the frame. As you saw in the last update, the motor is running. We've got this fuel tank. It's working pretty good for right now. We don't have a shutoff valve on it, so it's only wired into one tank at the moment. The other tank, this tank was bone dry. Go figure, the other tank was probably about 15/16 water and a quarter, or 15/16 water and 1/16 very, very nasty old gasoline. So we've got that soaking and cleaning up at the moment. We do have our nice shiny new choke installed, which works. That's a good thing. We got a new headlight switch. We do not have it wired in, but we do have some of our indicator lights. The electrics were not messed with, which is great. No one had ever chopped anything up. However, from sitting, we had a problem with one of the micro switches, which goes, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. You see this little arm right here? So when you take it and put it in gear, that swings out of the way. So that's what hits your neutral switch. And there's two switches, there's two micro switches right next to each other, and one of them seems to maybe have melted. I don't know, it would not click, it would not. It lost its movement and could not actuate. So we got another one of those coming. And we've got a nice new switch here with a switch condom. Keep her nice and dry. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold. Let's see if I can do this. There you go. Nice 55 watt halogen bulb. Did not do an LED conversion on that. As you can see, we have an absolute mess going on here. So, what other things? Let's see. Let's step across. We have a very cheap starter solenoid that I'm going to try. I bragged about the starter solenoid in the previous video, but it had actually lost its ground, so you could remove this wire and, okay, let me back up. It did not lose its ground. It grounded internally so that you could hit start even with the ground wire off and it would still trigger. So it would start with the blades on, it would start with the neutral, switch not engaged. So basically these safeties for your brake, your blade engagement, and your gear shift here, they all control the ground for your starter solenoid on this particular model. Not all riders are this way, but basically your key switch sends 12 volts here, and if it sees ground here, your mower will start. And so we had to replace that. And then I'm not quite sure what this little module right here is. It's called an interlock module, and it appears to be working. However, it still gave this wire ground even when the switches weren't giving it a ground. So finally got flustered and disconnected her, and now it works perfect. Seriously, everything works. I can't figure out what the hell this wire was even for. So for now, we're going to tape that up and leave her off to the side, and I have no idea, but everything still seems to function. The blades shut the engine off. If you don't have it in neutral and you have the blades engaged, it will not start. So and the seat switch works, so that's everything it does. This right here just tells you oil pressure is a light on the dash. Right there. And one for PTO, one for neutral. So anyway, not really electrical gremlins per se, but just something obviously has gone wrong with that little module, and we don't know exactly what we're dealing with there, and I don't feel like replacing it for a total of $80 when it now functions by clipping one wire. So there we are. We got lucky on that. Okay, let's shut this off. All of our lights work. I think we could get, yep, there's number, that's blade engagement. From what I can tell, our clutch is going to be okay. It sounds pretty bad, but the bearings are fine. All the sound we're hearing is rust. Lots and lots of rust. So these things have a brake pad inside them. When you engage your blades, it locks this pulley and this center part together. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Let's try to spin this with my hand. Okay, you see that part moving right there? And then you see this part right here moving. So when you give power to this, there's a magnet. There's a set of, like a big electromagnet in here, and it engages and locks those two together so they drive at the same time. And when it lets go, this has a brake pad on it, and if you see right through there, there's actually a gap you can set on these. I think it's about 10 thousandths. So we're going to go through and set this thing, maybe take it apart and clean it up. I don't know, but we'll see. I did source a replacement, so even though this was the only part on the mower that showed no longer available, we do have a replacement source for that, so that's good to know. It's very expensive, and this one works fine, so as long as these bearings will hold together, we're good. I'll try pressing them out when that day comes. I don't have a lot of faith. There's a lot of glare on that, but kind of see there's a pretty good layer of rust on there. These are 6206 bearings, so it's a standard bearing. If we could press that out, and well, see a stake right there, but we might be able to get it out. Anyway, we'll cross that day when we get there, but it is a Warner Electric. This is a, I don't know if you can see that, probably not. 5210-53. This, if you take that number, that's a Warner number, that will cross to a good clutch, manufactured by some PTO company now. So, we have lots of parts and pieces. These are the upper housing to the spindle. Here's a pulley, and here's my destroyed shaft that we tried to get the bolt out of. Did not work so good, so we had to order a new shaft. So we're waiting on parts right now, and we still have one more to go. Which, no, nothing's bent. It's just not sitting in there. There we go. That's probably better. The housing's bent. I got a new one of those. They're $10. So this one's pretty rough anyway. So might as well. I dinked the pulley a little bit, but I managed to source a replacement for a really good deal. So we do have a spare if we need it. But I think I could ding that back out if need be. But I have not separated this one yet, and really counting on this shaft. I really need it to come out good, so if I have to, I might cut the pulley off, but we will see. I'm going to get this in an actual press, and we'll try that. Let's see how that goes. Let's see. What else? Oh, with this clutch, there's supposed to be a rod that goes through here to the frame, like sideways, to take the force of it torquing, and that rod is missing and no longer available, so we have a piece of steel stock here that we're going to basically bend a hook on the end of it and make us a rod, and then bolt it to the frame or make a bend in it and attach it to the frame of the mower. That, I don't know, we'll find some way to hold it. All we got to do is keep it from spinning. This part needs to stay still, and it was held in with zip ties, which really surprises me. And then still have a few other things to work out. We have you see that? Let's get a good shot of that. Maybe there you go. So that is supposed to be straight down. That is completely bent. It's, and even this one's tweaked pretty good over on this side. It's supposed to be straight, or straight-ish. So it's at a pretty good angle. So we got to fix those guys. I have no idea what that roller right there does. Well, it's there. It's a very strange mower, guys. I'm telling you, I've never seen one like this. We have our brake adjustment. Really, that's the brake adjustment. This is the clutch adjustment. That was a lot of fun. That was very so out of whack. There's our crazy belt. Comes off the bottom of the engine. And gets flipped around. This side to the left is a back side. And this one to the right is a V. And we follow that up. There you go. That one right here. And that one's now going that direction. And by the time it gets up here, it is now 90 degrees flipped. So, anyway. We will continue working on this and getting done with what we can. She runs beautifully, so that part of her is done. I do have the latches coming that will hold this down. They were pretty inexpensive too, so something's worth doing. It's worth doing right. We will have a little bit invested in this, but it should be a good mower. Talked to my dad today, and we do have some lead weights that we can put back here that will hopefully give us some good weight for the rear end traction, because that is my only concern. But really, I'm most interested in this mower, or what piqued my interest in this mower, is because you have an engine, you have your seat, and you have your drive wheels, and you have your deck. All your weight is pretty well balanced right here, and that's actually what this funky rod is for up here on the side, so that you can pull this up and shift the deck up, which shifts your center of gravity back to the wheels. So I think for my little 130-pound butt, I think this will help hold the hills better than a traditional rider. We will find out. We also have the four-wheeler to finish up before we can really do any more on this. Got it apart, and time to clean up the shop. And here, we will make a video on this tomorrow. This is a Honda Kian carburetor off a, I think it's about a 2004, is it a Recon 250. Awesome little four-wheeler of my sister's, and a little bit of trash in the bowl, nothing terrible. We're gonna get that apart tomorrow and get her cleaned up, and probably check the fuel outlet on this one, because it just doesn't appear to be flowing the kind of fuel. I did replace the four-wheel drive actuator, which was fun. There you go. There she is, all nice and shiny. But we unfortunately didn't get that on video. That was just too tight of quarters, and I was going, and didn't have time to stop and film. But it's a very easy repair for anyone wanting to know. The hard part is getting to the bolt. This little piece next to it. I don't know if you can see that. This little bracket right here, and I think I got everything routed back right. I need to double check that wire comes through that bracket next to it. Metal one down here. So that was a little tricky. This upper one was really easy. The lower one was hard. So it's shifting like it should now. And what that is the shift actuator, so that, which of course it likes to be running when you shift it. There we go. Like I said, there we go. And then if you hit this one, anyway, we'll see if that's better whenever we get her back together. But as we see here, this was tight quarters to get into, but not the worst thing in the world. So we'll try to do a video showing how this goes back together. and do that as a separate video. Anyway, just a little weekly update. I've spent all my day hanging cabinets, and I'm tired, so I am resting. And it is Father's Day tomorrow. Happy Father's Day to me, my wife and beautiful children. We're going to do something fun tomorrow, so I will catch you guys later. Anyway, enjoy the simplicity and the mess that is Josh Garage and Hamilton Mechanical. Thank you guys. Have a great day.